Hello again. Welcome back if you joined us for past webinars on perhaps your year ahead or on co-oping careers. And if this is your first time tuning in for us, thank you for joining our International Student Webinar Series. Today's webinar is on McMaster Engineering Academic Advising. For those of you who may not already know me, my name is Elaine and I'm the International Liaison Officer here at McMaster Engineering. For those of you who have perhaps met me before, either on a one-on-one virtual meeting or a past webinar, or perhaps just by email or WhatsApp, hello again. So now I would like to take a moment to introduce our special guests. We have expert panelists here with us today, two of our Faculty of Engineering academic advisors. We have Brennan and Jennifer.
Hi, hello.
Thanks for joining us and for taking the time to be on our webinar here today. So we're going to talk to you today about mapping out your first year. So your first year here at the Faculty of Engineering, we're going to go through some key sections and information that will really be useful for you for any of your Faculty of Engineering first year programs. So with that, we're going to start on a presentation that myself, Jennifer, and Brennan are going to walk you through, and then we will do a live question and answer session following to answer all of your questions about academic advising. So these are the sections we're going to be covering here today. I'm going to walk you through some key definitions and concepts for every future student. And Jennifer and Brennan are also going to cover required courses for our first year programs. Then we're going to talk about navigating Mosaic and enrolling in classes. Jennifer is going to walk you through those sections. And then Brennan is going to talk about transfer credit, moving to level 2, and student support. So let's get started. So key definitions that every future student should know. Terms. So first of all, each of the years that you are here at McMaster University are called terms. There are 2 sessions within each term. The first session is fall, so that will be from September to December, and the second session is winter, from January to April. There's also a summer semester where you can take optional summer courses. So that leads us into, what is a course? A course is a class that you can take at McMaster, which can consist of a few different parts. We'll talk more in detail about these later, but they are lectures, labs, and tutorials. Let's talk about course codes. So a course code could look like the example up on our screen here today. That's Chem 1E03. So this is one course, and it's a chemistry course. And the last digit, the 3, is the number of units the course is worth. So this would be one course worth 3 units. We also have multi-term courses. So for example, ending in 6 could be a full year term for 6 units, or we have courses worth 10 units or 13 units. So required courses are a part of your curriculum and they are mandatory to complete. You can visit the academic calendar website to view your required courses for 2020-2021. Make sure that you're looking at that correct calendar year because you want to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date information. So the URL is academiccalendars.romcmaster.ca, and you can go to the page. So for example, Engineering 1, BTech 1, IBEHS 1, which is our iBiomed program, or Computer Science 1. And you can read the descriptions for each course. You can read the course code, and it will show you what your courses are in your first year. So now, Jennifer is going to walk us through the required courses for engineering, and then BTech, and then computer science.
Hello again, everyone. So here on the slide, you can see just sort of a quick breakdown of the required courses for Engineering 1. So sometimes refer to these as the core courses. So these are the courses here that you have to take to move into level 2. They all have to be completed in your first year. And essentially what they are everything except your complementary electives. And we're going to explain complementary electives in a little while. So here in Engineering 1, we have that chemistry course that Elaine was talking about. So one course in chemistry. There's math. So you've got lots of math in Engineering 1. You will take a Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and Linear Algebra course. So that would be 3 courses, each worth 3 units, which would be a total of 9 units of math in your first year. And then physics, so you'll have a physics course in your fall term and a physics course in your winter term. So they're kind of broken down between each. So that would be 2 courses for 3 units, 6 units. Really exciting to announce about a multi-term course that Engineering 1 students are going to be embarking on this year. It's a 13-unit course, so you'll take this course in the fall and in the winter terms. It's a project-based learning course, and it's going to combine design, computation and programming, materials, and engineering professional practice. Now, for the BTech students, you have required courses as well, of course. However, you don't take any complementary electives. So you have a standard first year that all students are going to have to take. So your technical type courses, engineering technology courses, the course code for this is EngTech, and you'll get used to using that lingo. And much like the engineering students, you're going to take chemistry, programming, math, and physics, as well as an electricity course. Now, you're also going to take some general technology courses through your degree, and these are the courses that make up your business part of the program. So in your first year, you're going to take 2 courses, 6 units each, that are going to focus on business and communications. So these are going to be the cornerstones to future years and future Gen Tech courses. Computer science. So again, a bit of a curriculum change for computer science this year. We're really going to put you right into the thick of things. You're going to take 15 units worth of directly computer science related courses. So this might be discrete math, computational thinking, programming, of course, and practice and experience within computer science. So really hitting the ground running, learning all there is to know about about computer science in your first year. Much like the Engineering 1 and iBio students, you are going to take math courses as well. So again, the Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and Linear Algebra.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Now, Brennan, can you walk us through the first year of iBiomed?
Absolutely. So the Integrated Biomedical Engineering and Health Sciences first year program, or first year, I should say, is very similar to the engineering curriculum, as they do take the same math, physics, and chemistry courses. So as Jennifer has already outlined, you are taking the same Calculus 1, 2, and Linear Algebra, the same 6 units in physics, and the same chemistry course as the engineering students are. However, the difference in the other courses are that there's an integration with health sciences. So you're doing 6 units of health science courses, which is a full year cellular biology course, as well as 10 units, which is a year-long course in biomedical engineering and health science design. So this is your integration of engineering and health sciences, which spans from the fall to April. And on top of electives, which we'll get into shortly, you only have 1 complementary elective to do in your first year, which is 3 units.
Awesome. Thank you, Brennan. All right. So let's talk a little bit about electives. So elective courses means you get to choose some of the classes you're taking in first year. However, it doesn't mean they're optional. You still have to take them in order to fulfill the unit requirements for your program. So in engineering and computer science, there are 6 units available for electives. And like Brendan mentioned, for iBiomed, there are 3 units available. So our engineering, iBiomed, and computer science students pick from a wide variety of elective courses. It could be economics, psychology, anthropology, and many more. Our BTech students, as Jennifer mentioned, follow a set schedule from day 1. This is because we have so much to pack into the 4.5 years. There's a BTech degree to earn, an advanced diploma to earn, a certificate in business management, 12 months of co-op. So there's lots packed into your curriculum. So that's why BTech students follow a set schedule from day 1. Let's talk a little bit about minors. So a minor is an amount of courses that you take in a subject different from the one that you're studying, and it's typically 24 units needed to complete a minor. That's about 8 courses, but I encourage you to check the exact requirements on the academic calendar. There are over 50 options available at McMaster, so plenty of different options to choose from. You could do a minor in music, history, perhaps a language, economics, statistics, finance, you name it. There's lots available. So definitely explore some of those options available on the academic calendar. And to just go through the programs, for computer science, there's plenty of room to complete a minor, so lots of opportunity for study there. For the engineering and biomed programs, if you're interested in completing a minor, you can do so through 2 specific program options, either the Engineering and Society program or the Health, Engineering, Science, and Entrepreneurship program. So there are a few other course requirements I want to walk you through today. There's WHMIS 1A00, which is a mandatory health and safety course completed in level 1. For BTech Engineering and Biomed students, you'll be automatically enrolled in this course, and Jennifer will talk a little bit further about block enrollment in a few slides. And for computer science students, you have to add this course through your Create My Timetable or Mosaic. For iBiomed students, you will also be automatically enrolled in BioSafe 1 BSO. And then 2 other courses I want to highlight. Brennan's going to be talking more about level 2 program options in a few slides, but if you are interested in the engineering and management program, you have to take Econ 1 BO3 as one of your elective choices in first year engineering 1. There's also students enrolled in the co-op option. You have to complete an online co-op prep course, which Catherine did talk about in our last webinar last week. And I want to take this opportunity to mention that if you missed any of our past live webinars, we post them on our YouTube channel. So head to McMaster Engineering YouTube, and there's a future student playlist. Or if you email me or message me on WhatsApp, I can send the past webinars to you that way as well. So McMaster GPA scale. We thought to include this because a bunch of you messaged me or like, what the heck is a 12? So let's go through that here today. So 12 is an A+ at McMaster because that's the highest. It's a 12-point scale. So you can see the chart on your screen here. It starts at highest is 12, and then it goes down that way. I want to highlight the 4. So a 4 is what you need to move on to level 2 in your academic programs. And some of you were messaging me being like, Elaine, do I need to get perfect to go to level 2? And don't worry, a 4 is a C-, so you don't need to get an A+ to move into your upper year levels. But you can just check out the grading scale here. And if you want, I can send you the link to the online website where it talks about this a little bit. So the last 2 definitions I'm going to cover here today are types of classes. So we have lectures, tutorials, and labs. So let's start with lectures. Lectures are led by your professor. There's a variety of lecture sizes depending on the program and the subject. So for example, if your program is a bit smaller, you might have smaller lectures, whereas if your program is a larger program, they may be a bit bigger. And it will also depend if the courses are cross-posted between the different disciplines or the different faculties even. But typically, generally speaking, your lectures are going to be your largest class. So this is where the professor is going to introduce and cover the topics and material. So this is where you're going to learn for the first time the material that's going to be covered in the class. There'll be lots of opportunities to ask questions. You could put your hand up during class or perhaps approach the professor after class. And the professor is also going to have office hours. So for example, if I had office hours Monday, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you could just come in and ask me some questions or talk about the course material. Another way in which you are going to be able to ask more questions is through your tutorial. These are led by a teaching assistant, or you'll hear them called TAs. And a teaching assistant is typically a grad student or perhaps an upper year student who's going to be leading your tutorial. These are smaller, perhaps around 40 students in a typical tutorial. And this is where you're going to be reviewing the concepts and material that you learned in your lectures. There will be lots of opportunity to ask questions, get clarifications from the teaching assistant, maybe review some examples. If you're really stuck on a certain problem, you can just ask your TA and they would be more than happy to help. So labs. Labs are also led by TAs, and you're going to, again, be in smaller assigned groups. And we have both traditional labs. You can see perhaps like a chemistry lab with a fume hood and some test tubes and some beakers, or we have design and problem-based labs where you're going to be working on real-world problems in smaller groups. In both cases, you would be working directly with a teaching assistant for any support and assistance that you need. I also want to highlight our Thode Makerspace. So this is a lab in the basement of Thode Library, and it's really neat because if you wanted to do something outside of the classroom, this is where you can come here and do it. There are sewing machines and laser cutters and engravers and 3D printers and Raspberry Pis. So basically anything you wanted to do a project outside of your class, you can just come here and do it. All right. So now Jennifer is going to walk us through two things. First is what is Mosaic, and then she's going to impart some information on enrolling in classes.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so Mosaic, you're going to hear this term a lot at McMaster because Mosaic is our student access point to McMaster's administrative system. So essentially, everything that you would need administratively throughout your degree will be run through Mosaic. It is a website, so you can navigate to mosaic.mcmaster.ca, and simply you'll be prompted to log in with your Mac ID and password. Now, really important to keep your Mac ID and password secure. It has, since once you log into Mosaic, it brings up all of your personal information. So that Mac ID is really, really important to keep that safe. And it would be your ticket into your own personal Mosaic. Now, one of the first things that you might use Mosaic for is to activate your McMaster email. So once you've logged in, you'll be brought to a home page, and it has a series of graphics and images, and we call them tiles. So there you'll actually see a tile that allows you to click on, which is activate your Mac ID, or sorry, activate your McMaster email, and then just follow the steps from there. So again, an important step that you can do right away to make sure that you're getting your communication from McMaster University. We will always communicate to you via your McMaster email. So one of the majority of ways that students use Mosaic is they use it to enroll in their courses. So Mosaic is the place where you're going to go to get registered. It's again, you would navigate to that home page, and you will see a tile there called Create My Timetable, and that's what you're going to use in Mosaic to build your schedules. Tons of other things, as I mentioned, you will get used to using this system a lot. Because it is our administrative system, it's going to have a whole bunch of other things you can use. And this is just a really, really short list. So one really important thing when instructors and professors would post your grades, they'll be posted in Mosaic for you to view. So you can just navigate through and see what those final grades are. You can use Mosaic to see all your course requirements. There's an extremely handy tool called your Academic Advising Report. And this report actually shows you what all your course requirements are for your degree. So really, really handy to get used to using that tool as well. Another important thing in Mosaic is the registrar's office is going to post all of your final exams in Mosaic. So again, navigating through to your student center in Mosaic and being able to see where your exam is, when it is, what day, what time, and obviously the delivery as well. So very important to know when your final exams are, and everything like that is in Mosaic. Some students, for various reasons, need to request a transcript. What's nice about this feature is that you can submit a request directly to the registrar's office for a transcript. So it happens really, really quickly because it's an automatic process in the system. Again, using the Student Center in Mosaic, you have access to all of your account history, your account summary, what money you owe the university for your courses, any credits or debits, what fees are being charged. So you can get a lot of the information that you need regarding your account, your student account in Mosaic through your Student Center. And when all is said and done, right to the bitter end of your degree, you will even use Mosaic to apply for graduation and declare any minors. So again, you will become very used to Mosaic and its systems and what it can offer you. So I'm going to switch now to talk a little bit about enrolling in courses. In this quick little segment, I'm going to talk about your enrollment appointment, block enrollment, or the automatic generated timetable, and just a quick little chat about enrolling in courses. So your enrollment appointment. So every student has a specific enrollment appointment. It's a designated time for you to go in and register for your courses. So important to note this because, again, every student may be different. And it is a specific date and time. If you try to register for your courses before your enrollment appointment, you're going to get an error. It's not going to allow you to do that. So really important to know where it is. Again, in Mosaic, in your Student Center, on the right-hand side, there is a column with a whole bunch of interesting little things you can click on and read. So you will see there on the screenshot under milestones, there's an enrollment appointment. Quite often, Mosaic will just post, here's the date of your enrollment. Really important to click on the details button. That's going to give you the specific date and time when you can go into the system. So enrollment dates for this year are going to take place in July. And the exact dates are still being worked out by the university administration. And so these dates will be finalized and posted on websites and things. So students will become aware when those enrollment dates were going to be starting in July. So block enrollment or the conflict-free timetable that's going to be generated. So this applies to Engineering 1, Bachelor of Technology 1, and iBiomed students. So this is really quite a wonderful thing, but due to the complexity of the first year engineering schedules, the university has decided that we would make timetables for students. So an actual physical timetable of all your required courses will be given to you at the beginning of the school year. Now, the reason behind this is that it is extremely difficult and stressful for students to create their timetables. If I could give you an example within our big class sizes with physics and chemistry, you may have 38 different labs to choose from at all different times, and you're trying to coordinate that with your math and a multi-term course. So this way, it takes a lot of the stress out of it for students. Students will just be given their required courses. Now, BTech students, you will just be given your timetable and you don't need to think about it anymore. You will just follow it as it would be in the fall. Engineering 1 students and iBiomed students, you are actually still going to have to go in and register for your complementary electives. We don't know what electives you'd like to take, so we can't decide for you what courses would go into your schedule. So it's only the required courses. Now, for the computer science students, again, the reason why we wouldn't give you an automated generated timetable is because your program is a little bit smaller. So unlike having to navigate 30 labs of physics, as I mentioned, you would simply only maybe have 2 or 3 labs to choose from. So it's a lot easier for you to find a conflict-free timetable, and you can kind of pick and choose which courses are going to go where. Now, for enrolling in courses, again, we're going to go into our handy Mosaic. As I mentioned earlier, here's a good screenshot of that homepage and the tiles that I was referring to. And in the top left corner there, you can see highlighted Create My Timetable. So Create My Timetable is a really fabulous tool in Mosaic to help students navigate creating a schedule. It's very visual. There is, on the left-hand side, there is your timetable is given to you, and you can kind of play around with it and actually see where the courses are when they are. So it's a really easy function to use in Mosaic. You're simply just picking your term, searching for courses, and adding them in, and you can enroll all the way through there. Our office is going to send you a detailed step-by-step video with instructions on how to use Create My Timetable if there's any confusion. And of course, academic advising is here to help you with anything you might need.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. So Brennan, can you walk us through transfer credit?
For sure. We, as our office, we do offer transfer credits for students with AP, IB, and GCE transcripts. So there is a bit of a process that I would just like to go over, but to also kind of break down what is eligible for transfer credits. None of the courses that are required or core courses for your level are eligible for transfer credits. So those would mainly include the math or science courses. So for example, we've talked about Chem 1, EO 3 for Engineering 1 and iBiomed. If you have a Chem, IB, or AP course, that is not eligible for transfer credit. You are required to do that course. So what we would mainly be looking at is using these transfer credits towards electives. So for engineering, you have 6 possible units of transfer credits. The Bachelor of Technology programs, unfortunately, you don't have any credits available to you for transfer. And then continuing, computer science and iBiomed both, again, have 6 possible units of transfer credits. So the process in which we ask students to start requesting these transfer credits is to connect with your academic advisor in August. But we, on our end, will connect with the admissions office to request this transcript. So please ensure that if you do wish to have a transfer credit applied to your requirements, that you have the appropriate transcript sent to the admissions office so we can retrieve a copy of it. Again, we would really just encourage you to do this in August before the fall term opens up. And so moving on to level 2, everyone is coming into level 1 and you will understand what your requirements are for that level alone. And then when you're moving on to level 2, the rest of your degree is kind of laid out for you, depending on the program or stream you've chosen. So I'll start off with engineering. So Engineering 1 students are in a general first year, and then you go and select one of the streams or disciplines along, if your option, if you wish to, 2 of the 5-year program options, management and society. So those programs are, again, optional. You would be applying into them after level 1, but you would tag those on with any of the following 10 disciplines, such as chemical or civil or computer or electrical and so on. So students in the process will then rank their choices by preference in terms of what stream they wish to get into. And then based on the supply and demand of that specific stream, you will be allocated into the course, or the program based on your GPA from level 1. Again, to even touch on free choice, this allows students who have free choice to choose their second year stream without having to compete. You will know if you have free choice because it will be in your offer letter in the first round of admission. So unfortunately, if your offer letter does not say anything about free choice, you will then just be part of the regular process in terms of ranking your preferred streams after level 1. So the Bachelor of Technology students, you are in a direct entry stream. So you will just be applying into level 2 by continuing your direct entrance program. So automation, automotive and vehicle, and biotechnology, you will all just be continuing on to level 2. But then you will be able to see in Mosaic, in your advisement report, the rest of the requirements you need for your degree. So that way you can start planning out when you need to take these courses, along with when you have to start actually implementing and pursuing your co-op work experiences as well. For computer science, again, it is also a direct entry program, so you will be continuing on to level 2, but you will be applying towards the Bachelor of Applied Science program for computer science. So this is a good opportunity to also, if you are planning to pursue a minor, just because you in this program have lots of elective space, that you'd be able to, start planning something out. You want to do this early on, so that way if you decide to, you want to really do a minor, but you only have 1 year left, you might be cramming quite a bit. You will also be then taking 5 experience or practice and experience courses, and as well there's a capstone project added into your final year. So you'll be with a group doing a capstone project in your final year before graduation. The iBiomed program is somewhat similar to the engineering process, where we have 2-degree program options that you choose from, and you would put those by preference. So we actually have 2 degrees, Bachelor of Biomedical Engineering and an Honors Bachelor of Health Sciences. So when students finish their first year, they would rank which program they would actually like to pursue. However, for the biomedical engineering degree, you would actually get the first choice of a parent discipline of engineering. So that would be one of the 8 disciplines, such as chemical, civil, electrical, materials, so on and so forth. But you do not have to compete with ranking with the other engineering students. As long as you get into the biomedical engineering discipline, then you will be given your first choice of an engineering stream. However, we do have soft numbers of these 2 different degrees. So we have about 90 spaces for the biomedical engineering and about 50 for the Bachelor of Health Sciences. Again, those are soft numbers, so we work with students just to see and try and get them their preferred degree option. And I'm just going to quickly go over kind of what academic advising, like myself, Jennifer, and the rest of our team does here. You know, we are kind of a first point of contact for students, especially in first year, where you might have a lot of questions, you might have a lot of concerns. It's a big adjustment period for you. So we're here to help you. You know, on the surface, we're here to help you with your course selection, your enrollment, any sort of forms, navigating through exams. But if you do just have any other concerns, we like to, again, think of ourselves as a first point of contact. So if we can help you, we will likely know where to point you in the right direction for the correct resource. Our first year success, we have about 96.5% of students go on after level 1 into either engineering or another successful program. So, you know, we do work with our students who may be struggling or not adjusting to university as well, to be strategic about how to be successful with your grades, right? So a popular strategy might be to lighten your workload and spreading courses into the spring, summer. So that way you're able to focus on all of your courses, but you just stretch that time out just a little bit. And then kind of just to add on to a lighthearted thing that we do have a dog therapy session about every 2 weeks in the academic year. So it's a pause and play. So if you're done class and you're stressed out, or you just finished a midterm and you want to de-stress a bit, you know, we have dogs around, you know, to play with, and they're quite cute too.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Brennan and Jennifer, for all of that great information. Before we get to the Q&A session, I want to go through a few reminders. So don't forget about our digital ambassadors. These are current students who are ready to chat with you either through Instagram or by email. So if you head to eng.mcmaster.ca/student-ambassadors, you can meet students like Aditya or Angel, and then click on connect and we can get you connected with them right away. So don't forget, they're students from countries all around the world and from all of our different programs, and they would love to speak with you. Another one is Instagram. So definitely follow us on Instagram, because this is where a lot of content is being pushed out. You'll see Instagram stories if it's a Q&A from our different office groups or from a current student doing a day in the life. So there's lots of content on Instagram, so make sure you give us a follow, and you'll see updates, a lot of updates over the next couple of weeks as well. All right, so lastly, don't forget to register for your private one-on-one video meeting with myself. I've opened up appointments throughout May, so be sure to book your appointment. You can book them through calendly.com/maceng/international student virtual meeting, or the place where you registered for this webinar. You can find the registration link there as well. Don't forget, we're always here for you. thinkeng@mcmaster.ca. That's our email. Just send us an email if you have any questions. By now, a lot of you probably have me on WhatsApp, so send me a message too, and then we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And you can also get us at eng.mcmaster.ca. There's news and other great sections for you to read through on our website. So I'm going to now stop sharing my screen, and then we're going to start a Q&A session. All right. So this is a good question. So I will answer this question, and then I have one for Brennan next about transferring to different programs. But this question is, I want to know when we'll be having an online webinar regarding financial assistance, scholarships, and visa processing. So the International Student Services is another office here on campus. So they're definitely your best resource for a lot of these topics, and they're going to be doing a webinar series over the summer. So I highly suggest you check out their webinar series. I can always send you the link to their website as well. So they're going to be having a lot of information on these topics, such as applying to your visa or financial assistance and scholarships as well. I know they do a webinar on and they assist with, how to set up a Canadian bank account, for example. So they're really going to be here for you through some of those topics. And that being said, if you do have questions about your visa, we have a contact here at McMaster, immigration@mcmaster.ca. So you can send an email and then they can help walk you through that process. I also have a handy link with some instructions. So if I haven't already sent that to you, let me know and I'll send that to you as well. All right, so Brennan, the question was specifically about transferring to different programs within the Faculty of Engineering. Can you kind of walk us through how that might work and what that looks like?
Sure. So, you are accepting an offer into a level 1 program, and the structured pathways that you would continue on that program. But we do have some students that would like to change things up and pursue a different degree or a different program. So we do have a process in which you apply on a transfer application. It's just a paper form that after level 1 you would submit to our office, and then depending on the department or program you wish to pursue, we would send it off for review. So it's not a guaranteed option, not a guaranteed transfer, only because a lot of our programs are either at capacity or there is a certain GPA cutoff. But we do have those avenues anyways, and are very supportive of students at least pursuing those. So we get students transferring to Bachelor of Technology or to iBiomed but a lot of the times you'd still want to meet with your academic advisor just to see what the best option might be for you. Because sometimes even if you're going into another program, you might be started at level 1 as well again, right? Some courses might not transfer over. So you might want to just, fish out those kind of details as well ahead of time.
Awesome. Thanks, Brennan. Okay, so Jennifer, I have a question for you. So how long is a typical lecture, lab, tutorial, and do I have to go to them?
So all courses are going to vary based on what the requirements of the course. So typically, in our, let's say you have chemistry as an example, you might have 3 1-hour lectures, across the 1 week span. So these are typically 50 minutes long. However, other courses may have different way of setting things up where you need more time in a lecture. So you might have a course that has a 2-hour lecture or even a 3-hour lecture. Sometimes we offer courses condensed at night. So we might have a student who would take, all those 3 lectures in the evening instead. So that things can really vary depending on the course. That goes for the same with labs. So some labs, might run 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on what needs to be covered and what the student needs to do. Tutorials, I think, are a little bit more consistent, especially on, in engineering science type-based courses. Most of our tutorials run about 50 minutes. Now, again, that could change depending on the course content and what needs to be covered. So my piece of advice for students is to always go to class. You're paying a lot of money for school and for an education, so it's really important to get everything you possibly can out of your experience. Also, they really do, sometimes you'll get little tips and tricks regarding the midterm, or things like that. So if you're not attending class, then you could potentially miss that information. So really important, go to class. This is why you're coming to university, to learn all of this stuff. So make sure you attend.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. And I also want to add, I know that as international students, a lot of you have never been on campus before. So campus is about 10 minutes across each way. So no matter what residence building you might be in, you'll be able to walk to class in about 10 minutes or less. A lot of the times they're closer than that. So your classes and tutorials and labs will be spread out in different buildings across campus, but they'll always be fairly close. And this is good in the wintertime because it can get pretty chilly. If you do book a one-on-one meeting with me, I have a slideshow that I can show you that goes through the different seasons, and we can talk a little bit about temperature. But nothing to be too scared about. All right, so here's the next question. So Brennan, it's a follow-up question about transfer credits. So someone's asking, what are they? Which is a tricky question. And can you explain again why they don't apply to the BTech program? And I guess we can just touch on the fact that those are the core math or science courses.
Yep. So to explain transfer credits, it's kind of the best way to describe it is a way of rewarding, that you don't get a grade for it. It's kind of like you fulfilled a requirement. And so because we don't offer transfer credits for our required courses, that's why we allow it for our electives. So with your transcripts, we'll be able to see how successful you were in some of these more advanced courses that you've already completed that are beyond the high school curriculum. And so that's why we would still like to award and recognize some of these achievements by giving you transfer credits. So again, it's kind of like you fulfilled your requirement for that elective if you have one for your degree. Hence why for Bachelor of Technology, unfortunately, they don't have any electives, so you don't get any transfer credits that are eligible. Because again, we wouldn't be accepting transfer credits for courses in our other programs. Jennifer, I know you're the Bachelor of Technology Academic Advisor. Is there anything else to add about that piece?
No, unless there's any follow-up questions, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure I got it.
Wonderful. Thank you both. I believe we mentioned earlier, but so transfer credits are only from the IB, AP, and British Pattern curriculum. So if you're not one of those curriculums, then it wouldn't apply to you. But one of the things we really like about McMaster Engineering is that, whatever program you're in it together. So like there can be, some said for being in the BTech program, even though you don't have transfer credits, you're really going through all of those courses with the same group of people. You're getting the same experiences. You're learning about the same things. So it can be kind of special actually to be traveling those 4.5 years together. All right, so another question I want to ask today is for both Jennifer and Brennan. So what are some popular electives that students in the different programs enjoy taking? Are there some that have stood out over the years that you've been academic advising? Jennifer, did you want to start?
Sure. So my general rule of thumb for students who come into my office and are maybe asking about, what courses should I take, are really to, take something that you're going to enjoy. Your complementary electives are supposed to sort of maybe broaden your horizons or allow you to learn something that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have been able to do. So I have, students coming in saying, I'm going to take Japanese. I thought it would be really interesting to learn Japanese. And so we have an introductory a course that you can take and use that towards your complementary electives. So some really interesting stuff. So always pick something that you think you're going to enjoy. You'll get a lot more out of it, and you might even learn something really interesting too. You probably will. So now for Engineering 1 students, we have, if you're interested in the management stream, so that's your engineering degree with business, we usually recommend students take Economics 1 BO3 and Economics 1 BB3. So these are two really popular courses that can count towards your complementary electives. So microeconomics, macroeconomics. Gives you a good sense of, do I like business? Am I going to enjoy studying this with my engineering degree? They also, one microeconomics is required to go into the management stream, and one macroeconomics is part of the degree in management. So really, really simple way to kind of get those out of the way right at the beginning and kind of figure out if you like it or not. Computer science students, they typically have a little bit more freedom in regards to what they choose for their complementary electives. So they can choose to take more science or math type courses where an engineering student might not be able to due to the accreditation of the program. So computer science students, if you are thinking about doing a minor, definitely come in for some academic planning so that we can, kind of set that out right away and know that you're on the right path and you're using those complementary electives towards the minor right away in first year. Other than that, pick something that you're going to love and enjoy. These you think you'll like to learn. There's lots of availability across campus. So
great. Brennan, did you want to walk us through some iBiomed electives?
Yeah, I think the elective, pathways are very similar between iBiomed and engineering. So a lot of what Jen has already touched on, I would agree with. Because I would, give that same advice of trying to find a course that you would at least find interesting, right? Even with that, we have like a first year psychology course that, a student who is interested in it might find it a lot easier to do than someone who just wanted to take it because they just want to take something. And now they have to put in more effort than they might not have thought they did. So with that in mind, the only other kind of common elective course that I see some first year students take is a classics course called medical terminology, only because that has they have come back with the feedback and said that's helped them in upper level health science courses in our program. So that seems to have at least assisted them in a further course that they've been able to use this as an elective. So, again, it's still completely up to you. It's something that, you do want to find something, again, that it would be of interest to you. Again, most of you are only going to be in undergrad once as well, right? So you're not going to be in courses forever. So you want to expose yourself to something different.
Awesome. Thanks, Brennan. Okay, so we've had a question about level 2 specializations for engineering. So I'll take a few minutes to walk through this process. So engineering has a common first year. And then at the end of first year, that's when you're going to be ranking your different discipline specializations. So you're going to, I believe, is it correct you use Mosaic to do this?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So you'll use Mosaic to then rank your choices of your preferred disciplines. Now, so two things. First, if you have free choice, you're guaranteed your number one choice. So what you're going to do is you're going to think really hard about what your first choice is, and then you would be guaranteed that choice. Interestingly, so that is to the top, typically the top 25 percentile of our applicants. And like Brennan mentioned, that would be on your offer letter. So for the rest of the students, I just want to say, typically the majority of our students do get their top choice. So it's going to be, so you want to definitely put, a lot of thought into ranking those programs. And it's going to be based on your level 1 GPA, and you're going to be ranking again next spring. So this is a kind of a later problem. So worry about that at the end of first year. So like I mentioned, you're going to rank, and then the different disciplines are going to have different GPA cutoffs depending on the popularity of the discipline within your cohort. So each of the disciplines have a different number of seats, and the GPA cutoff to get into those disciplines will depend on your peers and which disciplines are more popular. So that is how that process works, and that's how the GPA cutoffs work. Now, one of the things I want to talk about and why we have the common first year in engineering is because it really gives you time and a sense to get to know what you really like. We find that oftentimes our students change their mind once they're in first year engineering. So for example, I love chemistry in high school, right? So I think I might want chemical engineering. But turns out if you like chemistry, it's actually the more closely related discipline is materials engineering, right? So your first year is going to teach you things like that. And there's going to be departmental open houses. So you can go and meet with the mechatronics department and talk to professors and say, what am I actually going to be studying in this discipline? So that's what the first year experience for engineering does here. And I've talked to a lot of students and parents about how it really helps, because they really get to know what the different disciplines are, and so that they can make educated choices going into upper year and beyond. So I hope that answers that question about how that process works. So now I have another question for our academic advisors. So perhaps one for Brennan and then one for Jennifer. So Brennan, how do you book an appointment with an academic advisor? And then Jennifer, maybe you can follow that up with other than course enrollment, what do academic advisors help with?
Perfect. So how to book an appointment with us? We, as some of you might have guessed, we're all working remotely right now, working from home. So we are doing virtual appointments with students. So you can email our front desk to book an appointment. With the email address is engserve@mcmaster.ca. And they will be able to book you a half-hour time slot with your academic advisor so they can go over your questions and concerns. You can also email us if you just have general, something that you would like to talk about just via email. When we are in the office, however, you would still book a morning appointment with us from our front desk, or we do have drop-in appointments in the afternoon. So no appointment required if you're done class and you want to swing by because you do have a question on top of your head. You would be more than welcome to do so. Again, hopefully we are back in the office sometime soon in order to see you in person.
Excellent. So the question was, what else would you come in for an academic advisor, or what exactly do we do? And it's a really good question because depending on the model that you had in high school, some students don't know that there is this group of people here who are kind of here to help you and assist you. And in a general sense, that's what I would say that we are. Brennan sort of mentioned that we're sort of a first point contact. So, and what we kind of mean by that is, I don't know where my class is. You could essentially ask that to your academic advisor. Or something even more serious where I'm having, issues with, my roommate and things like that. We even get those questions. Now, we're not complete experts to answer everything across the university, but what we can do is say, okay, if you're having problems with your roommate, let me make a connection for you with Housing and Conference Services, something along those lines. It's not always problems. Oftentimes we have students come in just to say hi and tell us how things are going academically. We do a lot of academic planning. We do a lot of behind the scenes things as well. So besides seeing students daily, a lot of how the systems operate in Mosaic are actually looked after by our team. So we keep fairly busy, but I think probably for the majority of everyone on our team, the favorite thing is to, assist students with anything that might come up for them. So please don't feel shy. It's not, academic advising isn't a scary place. We are here to help you. It's not, we would never give a student trouble for something. We're definitely a team of people who want to help you get through this. And everybody needs a little help sometimes. It's going to be a new experience with a lot of different changes. So we are more than happy with open arms. So don't feel like we're scary. And it's everybody needs a little help sometimes. So feel free to contact us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Yes, and I'm so glad our future students got to see your and Brennan's faces, so they can for the fall. So I'm just going to talk about one quick thing about some other supports available, and then we are almost out of time, so we'll go ahead and sign off the webinar. I just want to mention there's the International Student Services. I believe I talked about them briefly before, but they are also here for you to support you once you're a McMaster student. So they're going to be doing webinars, but they also do events throughout the school year. If you have questions as a current student, you can go to them. So they are here for you as well. There's also the Student Wellness Center, the Student Accessibility Center, the McMaster Engineering Society. So if there's any, there's supports everywhere to help you be a successful student. So you'll never be alone at McMaster. There will always be someone here with either the tools, the resources, the information, or the connections to help you. And with that, I think we're going to sign off for today. So first of all, thanks to Jennifer and Brennan for all of their wonderful information and for joining us here on our webinar. And second of all, thank you to all of you for joining us from all around the world. It was lovely to see you virtually, and I look forward to meeting you on some one-on-one virtual meetings. So be sure to book an appointment with me through Calendly. All right, so that's everything. So I'm going to sign off the webinar, and thank you everyone again, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right, take care. Bye.